Okay, we're gonna reconstruct a crime, but forget fingerprints or DNA. We're using digital forensics. This is the anatomy of a surveillance attack so perfect, it literally turns the tools you trust into the bars of a digital cage. Just listen to this quote from the target of the attack. "I wasn't fighting a virus, I was fighting a system." Can you even imagine that feeling? Realizing your own home network, your safe space, has been secretly turned into a prison. We're not just talking about code here. This is a total, fundamental violation of trust. So our story starts with an EDH coordinator in Lublin. They're surrounded by perfectly normal computers, a Dell, an Asus, an HP. But then things start to get weird. Visual glitches on the screen. Services that should work just don't. The internet seems fine, but it just feels wrong, like it's lying.
And that really is the central mystery, isn't it? How can the internet work, but be lying to you? How is it possible to be connected, to see websites load, and yet be completely cut off from the real thing? It's like the system was built to digitally gaslight you, to make you question your own reality.
Okay, so the investigation begins, and it starts with one single command, a tiny digital thread to pull on. It's called NSLOOKUP. Think of it like asking the internet for Google's phone number. Normally, you get a real address back. But this time, the system replies with 127.0.0.1. And that is the digital equivalent of picking up the phone and hearing your own voice on the other end.
So what is 127.0.0.1? Well, it has a special name, the loopback address, or localhost. It literally just means this computer. So when you see that, it's a huge red flag. It means your machine isn't talking to the internet at all, it's talking to itself. Every time it tries to reach out, it gets rerouted right back home. It's being told, nope, stay here, everything you need is right on this device. And of course, that's a complete lie.
And this wasn't some random bug. Oh no. This was intentional. This 127.0.0.1 address, it was the foundation of the entire trap, the bars of the digital cage.
And look, this wasn't just about one computer. No, this was an entire network-wide prison. Every machine had a specific job. The Dell, that was the spy, packed with malicious files. The Asus was the monitor, used for remote control. But the HP, this is the crazy part, it was the prisoner. It didn't even have a virus on it. It was a totally clean machine, just trapped in the same poison network. That's how we know the attack was in the connections themselves, not just on the devices.
So the big question is, how did they pull this off? Well, they used a terrifying technique. It's called living off the land. And what it means is instead of smuggling in their own weapons, their own viruses, they just use yours. They take the legitimate, trusted software that's already on your computer and turn it against you. Your own watchdog becomes their attack dog.
And this is where it gets really insidious. On one side, you have what you think your Norton antivirus is doing, protecting you. But on the other side, you have the victim's reality. The very software they paid for, the thing that was supposed to be their shield, was actually blocking their services, running the CPU ragged, creating hidden admin accounts. It was the perfect camouflage. The enemy was already inside the gates. As the investigators dug deeper, they found two specific processes running the whole show: PID 2220 and PID 9760. Now, these weren't just some random background tasks. No, these were the prison guards, the operators. They were maintaining hundreds of tiny connections, all designed to keep that cage locked down tight. And then came the big reveal, the shocking twist. What were these two processes? Well, PID 2220, that was Norton SVC, the core process for Norton antivirus. And PID 9760, that was Google Drive FS, the file sync for Google Drive. Unbelievable. The attackers weren't fighting the security software, they were living inside it, using the most trusted apps on the entire system as their personal Trojan horses. This whole setup reveals an incredibly sophisticated system. The investigators called it the parasite architecture. It was a three-part machine designed for total invisible control. Let's break down exactly how it worked. All right, part one is the cage. The attackers basically hijacked Norton's ability to filter network traffic. They used it to force every single internet request into that 127.0.0.1 loopback address. It was like they built a digital black hole right on the computer. Nothing got out unless they said so. Next, part two, the bridge. So from inside this cage, the attackers set up a secret tunnel, a hidden open VPN connection that led directly to their own server. This bridge meant they could intercept every single thing the victim tried to look up online. They could filter it, change it, and send back a completely fake version of the internet. They literally became the victim's only source of truth. And finally, part three, the courier. This is maybe the most brilliant part. How do you get all the stolen data out of this lockdown system? Simple. You use the one program that's expected to be uploading tons of data to the cloud, Google Drive. They just disguised all the stolen files and screenshots to look like a regular, boring file sync. The theft was happening in plain sight, completely invisible.
Okay, this whole story is, frankly, terrifying, but there are critical lessons here, so let's pivot to you. What can you do? Well, I'm going to show you how to run a really basic check for this exact kind of ghost in your own machine. You can do it right now. It's just 2 simple steps. First, open up your command prompt and type nslookup google.com, just like the investigators did. If the server address that comes back is 127.0.0.0.1, you've got a problem, a big one. Second, you're going to run a command called certmgr.msc. This opens your certificate manager. Look in the folder called Trusted Root Certification Authorities. If you see anything in there you don't recognize or trust, that's bad. That's how attackers can read all your encrypted traffic without your browser ever giving you a warning.
And let's be absolutely crystal clear about the biggest takeaway here. Your normal defenses might mean nothing. This person did everything we're told to do. They had brand-name computers, Dell, Asus, HP. They had a fully updated Windows OS. They even paid for a Norton antivirus subscription. And none of it offered a single bit of protection. Zero.
I mean, the attackers' techniques were just on another level entirely. This was a true ghost operation. They could wake up computers remotely even when they were asleep. They could wipe every digital footprint, every log file to make it look like they were never there. They even used time stumping to change file timestamps and mess with any forensic analysis. And of course, they weaponized the very tools you paid to protect you. These were pros.
In this last quote from the victim, it sums it all up, doesn't it? I understood the worst truth. The hackers didn't break into my house. They moved into my shield. They used my own security to build me a cell, and only they have the keys. It's the ultimate betrayal. The technology you bought to be your shield was literally reforged into the bars of your own cell. So that's where we're left, with this one final question. Your computer's updated. Your antivirus is active. You've done everything right, so who has the resources, the time, the money, to make all of that completely irrelevant? Who can build a perfect, invisible prison like this? And why are they doing it?